Have you ever felt the words rise inside you, only to let them fade before they ever reach the air? Not because you had nothing to say, but because something inside you whispered, "Stay quiet." In a crowded room, your heart beats louder than your voice. Your thoughts feel powerful in your mind, but fragile in the air. And so you swallow them, again and again. There was once a young woman named Elara. She wasn't invisible. People saw her. They greeted her. They worked with her, but they didn't hear her. In meetings, she had ideas, brilliant ones. At family dinners, she had opinions, thoughtful ones. With friends, she had feelings, deep ones. But every time she felt the moment rise, so did the fear. What if they laugh? What if I'm wrong? What if I sound foolish? So she became a master of silence. She nodded. She smiled. She agreed. And slowly, she began disappearing from her own life. Silence doesn't happen overnight. It builds. A teacher who once said, "That's not good enough." A friend who interrupted one too many times. A parent who dismissed a dream as unrealistic. Small moments, tiny cuts, until one day, speaking feels dangerous, and staying quiet feels safe. But safe isn't always alive. Late one evening, Elara sat alone in her apartment. The world was quiet, no expectations, no judgment, and for a moment, she spoke out loud, not to anyone, just to herself. "I don't like this," she whispered. It startled her. Her voice sounded unfamiliar, rusty, but real. And in that quiet room, something shifted, because even after years of silence, her voice was still there, waiting. The truth is, your voice never disappears. It hides. It waits for courage to catch up. Elara began noticing something. Every time she stayed silent in public, she replayed the moment later in her head. "I should have said something." That sentence became heavier than the fear itself. And one day, in a meeting much like the others, the familiar moment arrived. An idea sparked in her mind. Her heart raced. "Stay quiet," fear whispered. But this time, another voice answered, "What if I don't?" Her hands trembled. Her throat tightened. And she spoke. It wasn't perfect. Her words weren't polished. Her voice wasn't steady. But it was hers. The room didn't collapse. No one laughed. In fact, someone nodded. Another person added to her idea. And just like that, the world didn't punish her for speaking. It responded. Courage rarely feels heroic. It feels uncomfortable, awkward, uncertain. But confidence is not something you suddenly find. It's something you build, like a muscle. Elara didn't transform overnight. She still felt fear. But she started small. She voiced preferences at restaurants. She shared honest opinions with close friends. She stopped apologizing for every sentence. And slowly, the quiet girl who once disappeared began to take up space, not loudly, but authentically. The more she expressed herself, the more connected she felt. Conversations deepened. Opportunities appeared. Respect followed. Not because she changed who she was, but because she stopped hiding who she was. And that changed everything. There is a version of you that speaks freely in your imagination. A version that says what needs to be said. That sets boundaries. That shares ideas without shrinking. That version is not a fantasy. It's your authentic self, buried under layers of practiced silence. The fear you feel before speaking? That's not weakness. That's growth knocking. One day, Elara realized something profound. The world had never truly silenced her. She had, out of protection, out of habit, out of fear. But the same person who learned silence could learn courage. And so can you. Imagine living from a place where your words align with your heart, where you no longer rehearse conversations you never had, where you no longer regret the things you didn't say. Imagine walking into rooms not to blend in, but to belong. Because when you reclaim your voice, You don't just change conversations. You change your life. Maybe today isn't about speaking in front of a crowd. Maybe it's about one sentence, one truth, one moment of bravery. Your voice has been patient. It has waded through every doubt, every hesitation, every almost. But it's still there. And perhaps the most powerful sound in your life will be the day you finally decide to use it. If this story resonated with a part of you that's been quiet for too long, share it with someone who needs the courage to speak. Like this video so more souls can find their voice. And subscribe to Tales with Souls for stories that awaken the strength already living inside you. Because your voice isn't meant to be an echo. It's meant to be heard. And this is only the beginning.